Section 6 is Applications. In this section, we will learn some scale applications to be used with each scale position you have learned. Rather than playing the scale ascending or descending from string to string, applications give you different melody patterns that keep the scale and your guitar playing interesting. These will greatly enhance your playing and writing ability. Listen for these applications when you are listening to your favorite songs. You will find they are not just applied to the guitar. You will hear them in piano, voice, bass, as well as any other musical instrument. For this section, I'm using a Les Paul standard electric guitar. I'm using the Valve Junior half-stack amplifier with the volume set at about 10 o'clock. I'm also using a slight delay and a slight chorus pedal. In increments of 2, we break the scale into patterns of 2 notes at a time. Rather than play the scale straight through, what we're going to do is play scale notes 1 and 2, 2 again, then 3, 3 then 4, 4 then 5, and so on. We're going to apply increments of 2 to the open E or third scale position. Remember to allow each note to ring out for a full count. This application is written in 2/4 timing. There are 2 beats per measure. A quarter note receives 1 beat, and the count is 1 2 1 2. Here's increments of 2 at a slow pace of 100 BPM. And now again, without the use of sheet music, test your memory and try to play this pattern descending. I highly recommend that you apply this and all applications to every scale position. Next, we have increments of 3, where we'll break the scale into patterns of 3. We're going to use the F position for this pattern, and instead of playing the scale position all the way through, which can get redundant, what we'll do is we'll break it up, play notes 1, 2, and 3, 2, 3, and 4, 3, 4, and 5, 4, 5, and 6, and so on. Allow each note to ring out for a full count. This application is written in 3/4 timing. There are 3 beats per measure. A quarter note receives 1 beat. The count is 1 2 3. Here it is applied to 110 BPM. breaking the scale into patterns of 2 strings, starting with the 6th, then 5th string, 5th, then 4th, 4th and 3rd, 3rd and 2nd, second and first, and then in reverse. This application is written in 3/4 timing using eighth notes. There are 3 beats per measure, and eighth note receives half a beat, so the count is going to be 1 and, 2 and, 3 and. Here it is applied to the 5th scale position at the slow pace of 60 BPM. These applications are written out for you to get comfortable playing them on every string of your guitar. However, you probably will not use every string in a song because it would sound monotonous. The best way to use these applications is by mixing them up with others or mixing them with chords and lead phrases. For example, you might get an interesting song riff by mixing increments of 2, then 3, then 2 strings. The last application was called 2 strings. This one is the same thing, except we're going to go back 1 note. So we'll play strings 6 and 5, then backtrack 1 note, then play the notes on string 5 and 4, and then back 1 note, and then play the notes on strings 4, then 3, back 1 note, 3, then 2 and back, 2 and 1 and back. And in reverse, you play the notes backwards, going with strings 1 and 2, and up 1 note, then 2 and 3, and so on. This application is written in 4/4 timing, using eighth notes and a quarter note. There are 4 beats per measure, and eighth note receives half a beat, quarter note receives 1 beat. So the count is going to be 1 and, 2 and, 3 and, 4. Here it is applied to the A or 6th scale position at a slow pace of 65 BPM. Here's the same exercise but played with straight eighth notes. Here we're going to break the scale into patterns of 3 strings. We'll play the 6th, 5th, and 4th, 5th, 4th, and 3rd, 4th, 3rd, and 2nd, and so on. This application is written in 3/4 timing using triplets. Triplets are eighth notes written in groups of 3. A triplet receives 1/3 of a beat. The count is 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a. Here it is applied to the 7th scale position at a slow pace of 40 BPM. Here we'll play the notes on the 6th, 5th, and 4th string and then go back 4 notes. Then we'll repeat the notes on the 5th, 4th, and add the 3rd string, and then go back 4 notes. And apply the pattern to the entire scale position. This application is written in 4/4 timing using 16th notes, triplets, and 8th notes. The 16th note receives 1/4 of a beat, a triplet receives 1/3 of a beat, an 8th note receives half a beat. The count is 1 E and a, 2 and a, 3 E and a, 4 and. It's a little bit tricky, you might have to listen to it once or twice and then try to play along. Here we go at a slow tempo of 40 BPM. Please take time to explore different rhythms and apply them to your favorite scale positions and applications. 3 strings and back 4 notes incorporated 16th notes, triplets, and 8th notes. This in any scale pattern or application can easily be applied to a straight duration. For example, here is the descending pattern played with 16th notes. Breaking the scale into patterns of 4, play the first 4 notes, then the next 4 notes, then the next 4 notes. This application is written in 4/4 timing using quarter notes. Here it is at 130 BPM. Here's increments of 4 at double time with 8th notes. Each note receives half a beat. The count is 1 and, 2 and, 3 and, 4 and. To play increments of 4 using 16th notes, each note would receive a quarter of 1 beat. The count would be 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. To play increments of 4 in 3/4 time, you could play any combination of 2 quarter notes and 2 eighth notes. Using 2 quarter notes followed by 2 eighth notes, the count would be 1, 2, 3, and. Here it is at a pace of 130 BPM. Using 1 quarter note followed by 2 eighth notes followed by another quarter note, the count would be 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. And then you could reverse it starting with 2 eighth notes followed by 2 quarter notes, and your count would be 1 and 2, 3, 1 and 2, 3. Feel free to pause this video and explore different rhythms. Apply any timing to any note or groups of notes, and be sure to experiment with different timings on all. Here we're playing notes 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5. Basically, you're playing 4 notes ascending, and then back 1 note. The pattern is written in 4/4 timing using quarter notes and eighth notes. The quarter note receives 1 beat, eighth note receives half a beat. The count is 1, 2, 3, 4, and. Here it is at 250 BPM with straight quarter notes in 5/4 timing or 5 beats per measure. The step down, step up pattern, starting with the step down pattern. Here we'll play our second scale note and then our first scale note. Next go to the third scale note and play the first, fourth then third, fifth then fourth, sixth then fifth, and up the scale. This application is written in 2/4 timing using quarter notes. There are 2 beats per measure. A quarter note receives 1 beat. The count is 1, 2. Step up is the opposite of the step down pattern. Here we're playing, say, notes 7 and 8, 6 then 7, 5 then 6, and so on. This application is written in 4/4 timing using eighth notes. An eighth note receives half a beat. The count is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. I suggested that you try playing these applications with different rhythms. Here are some basic principles to help you further explore timing. This chart will show you the breakdown of notes from whole to 16th notes in 4/4 timing, equaling 4 beats per measure. I'll play the rhythm on this chart using the open B or second string. For timing, a rhythm can use any combination of note types as long as the total count equals 4 complete beats. The following are some examples of rhythm combinations using half and quarter notes. Notice that each measure equals 4 beats. In rhythm 1, hold the half note for counts 1 and 2. Play a quarter note for count 3, play a quarter note for count 4. Total beats equals 4. Repeat this rhythm over and over again. It could be applied to single notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can apply it to scale notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Applications, chords, you name it. Here's rhythm 1 applied to an E major chord at 100 BPM. For rhythm 2, hold the quarter note for count 1, half note for counts 2 and 3, hold a quarter note for count 4. Here is rhythm 2 applied to the notes E, F, and G at 100 BPM. In rhythm 3, hold a quarter note for beat 1, hold a quarter note for beat 2, and hold the half note for beats 3 and beat 4. Here's rhythm 3 applied to the power chords A5, G5, and F5. Eighth notes equal half a beat, so each count needs to be separated in 2 pulses. Instead of using basic count, 1, 2, 3, 4, eighth notes are counted 1 and, 2 and, 3 and, 4 and. The and adds the extra pulse in between each beat. In rhythm 1, the combination is half, quarter, eighth, eighth. Because the 4th beat consists of 2 eighth notes, it needs to be split into 2 accents. Instead of counting the 4th beat as 4, you need to count it as 4 and. Altogether, hold the half note for counts 1 and 2, play a quarter note for count 3, play an eighth note for 4, play an eighth note for and. Total beats equals 4. Here's rhythm 1 applied to increments of 4 in the A or 6th position. In rhythm 2, hold the quarter note for count 1, hold the half note for counts 2 and 3, and hold the eighth note for 4, hold an eighth note for and. Here's rhythm 2 applied to increments of 4 in the B or 7th position. For rhythm 3, hold the quarter note for count 1, hold an eighth note for 2, hold an eighth note for and, hold the half note for beats 3 and 4. Here's rhythm 3 applied to increments of 4 in the C or 1st position. This example uses half, quarter, eighth, and 16th notes. 16th notes equal a quarter of a beat, so each count needs to be separated into 4 pulses. In rhythm 1, the combination is half, eighth, eighth, 16th, 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 16th. Because the 4th beat consists of 4 16th notes, it needs to be split into 4 accents. Instead of counting the 4th beat as 4, you need to count it as 4, E, and A. Hold the half note for counts 1 and 2. Play an eighth note for the 3 count. Play an eighth note for the and count. A 16th note for 4. A 16th note for E. A 16th note for and. A 16th note for A. Here is rhythm 1 applied to the D or 2nd scale position. For rhythm 2, hold a quarter note for the 1 count, an eighth note for 2, an eighth note for and, 16th note for 3, 16th note for E, 16th note for and, 16th note for A, play a quarter note for the 4 count. That all equals 4 beats. Here's rhythm 2 applied to the E or 3rd position octave.